Hi, Tim Hart here, Forced Applications. I had some questions coming in about replacing your rim sprocket or spur sprocket on a chainsaw. And I've got a little tip here at the end about the E-clip that holds all of that together. So let's take a look at it. First of all, this particular saw, this is a 576 Husqvarna. It's very similar design as far as the drive system to the Steels because it has an external drive rim for your sprocket. It has an internal clutch assembly. So your barn chain comes off the outside here, your retaining washer and sprockets held on with an E-clip. First thing is that we take a look here, and you've got to remove the E-clip. And so what you do is you take a screwdriver, a wrench. Now you want to make sure you keep your finger over that because it will pop off and fly. And then you have a retaining washer that comes off, then your rim sprocket. A couple things on these rims. First of all, the newer ones, they have a witness mark on there on the Oregon rims, and that witness mark lets you know that when it's gone, it's a wear indicator. It lets you know that it's time to replace that sprocket. I believe it's about 28 thousandths of an inch wear. Another thing on rim sprockets, some designs have windows on this outside area. That must point outward so the chips and debris come out and don't get crushed against the side of your drum. But this one has a hollow out the bottom, so it kind of cleans itself either direction. So the sprocket can be placed either way. Then you have the drum itself that comes off. There's usually a hookup of some type, either a slot for a wire or in this case a small arm. That drives your oil pump assembly. So you want to make sure that you recognize that, the position of that as you come out with it. And then the drum bearing itself, that's something to grease. Some of your earlier saws with inboard clutches actually had a grease channel through the crankshaft that you could pump grease into it to the bearing. But these you have to take and just lightly coat with a bearing and then back onto the shaft. Then when you go back together here, you want to make sure that slot lines up. If you don't have it lined up, it won't go down on there completely. So here I can turn it until that drops in. You can feel it start to turn your oil pump drive system. Then the rim sprocket can go on, as I mentioned, either way. And then the retaining washer. And then your E-clip. Now, something interesting about the E-clips that a person shared with me years ago. E-clips are stamped from one side. So that means you have a rounded area in the internal side here on the outside, and then the bottom side is sharp. It's just a flat edge. And what you want to think about is that sprocket, if it pushes outward and you have it with the rounded edge, it can push it and separate it off of the crankshaft slot. So here you want to turn that flat side outward, and that way when you push that E-clip on there, it locks itself in that channel. Okay. You can also use your scrunch to be able to place that E-clip on so it doesn't go flying off into the woods with you. You can take and just cover the edge of it with your scrunch. That way it kind of retains it. And then you push it into it. You got to get that just that edge. And as you push it in, that'll keep that clip from going flying. The flat edge locks into the chamfer that's in your crankshaft, and you're set to go. So that's replacing it. Very simple to do. Part of the cleaning process on somewhat of a regular basis. And hope you picked up something there that you'll be able to use. And that's what it's all about. So thanks for dropping by. You can find out more on our YouTube site at Forest Apps, or on Facebook at Forest Apps, or you can check us out at Instagram at Forest Applications Training, _ between the 3 words. And this is Tim Hart, wishing you good sawing.